PUSD is expanding to ADI Chain to add another stablecoin option for Middle East settlement. The tension is whether stablecoin infrastructure can move from headline integrations into daily institutional settlement. PUSD expands ADI is the search lens here, but the useful read is narrower. Which confirmed details prove the story, and which claims still need follow-through. The first thing to track is corridor flows, because that is where the opening claim becomes measurable instead of just attention. This opening pressure is tied to 2.3B supply, and that detail sets the stakes before any broader market reaction can be judged. The viewer value is knowing the exact pressure point before the louder narrative gets ahead of the evidence. The confirmed baseline is simple. PUSD has about $2.3 billion in circulation and is already active on Ethereum, BNB Chain, Solana, and Tron. That gives the story its frame without needing broad market noise. The number or status that matters most at this stage is 4 chains already, while PUSD on ADI remains the actor or object carrying the story. This scene is about what is already on the table before the market, users, or regulators start reacting. It also keeps the timeline clean, because the next step only makes sense after the existing status is separated from the claims still waiting for proof. In this case, the baseline matters because stablecoin rules active is already part of the setup. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. The mechanism is what makes the headline useful. The mechanism is corridor settlement. ADI Chain charges fees in its native token while supporting transfers across Gulf, Middle East, and African routes. PUSD expands ADI matters at this point because the mechanism decides whether the event is durable, fragile, or still only a claim. In plain English, corridor settlement is the working part of the story, and native fee token is the structural signal that shows why it can change behavior. If that mechanism fails, the headline loses force. If it holds, the story has a clearer path from attention to real consequence. That is why the mechanism has to be tested through corridor flows, not through sentiment alone. The affected side is specific. Payment processors, exchanges, and corporate treasuries are affected because they can choose between dollar-linked and dirham-linked settlement tools. This is where the story becomes practical rather than abstract. For institutional users, the immediate issue is more settlement choice. That does not automatically prove a final outcome, but it explains who has to adjust first and why the event matters outside the headline. The practical readout is not about guessing direction. It is about identifying the group that feels the constraint, risk, or opportunity first. If that group does not react, the story may have less force than the headline suggests. The unresolved piece should stay separate from the confirmed facts. The open issue is whether UAE regulatory momentum turns into measurable payment volume on ADI Chain. That open point matters because viewers should not treat real payment volume as settled while not proven yet remains the current status. The cleanest confirmation point is corridor flows, since it would show whether the early evidence is turning into follow-through. Until that appears, the careful reading is to keep the event in view without turning the missing detail into a conclusion. This split protects the viewer from treating a plausible scenario as a verified result. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. The next signal is concrete. The next signal is institutional usage, payment corridors, and any further approvals inside the UAE framework. For PUSD expands ADI, that means the story should be judged by institutional transfers, not by louder speculation. If that signal appears, the market or user reaction has a clearer basis. If it does not, the safer read is that the headline has not yet become proof of a lasting change. If viewers remember one trigger, it should be institutional transfers, because that is the signal the story can actually prove.